Have you checked the children? Your little mess
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes that is better.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Howdy, folks. Welcome back to the horror show. I'm Robert Duell.
Fuego here, and yeah, we are doing another specific request from an awesome individual, none other than Heather Smith.
Yes.
And yes, man, we are describing and giving our dissertations about
pro wrestlers versus zombies.
yeah. So
yeah,
it was a thing. It is star laden with
It was a thing.
with wrestlers at the time, but it's very weird because it feels like,
and they
to
were
me,
fairly big name like wrestlers, at least like some at the time, but obviously back in the 80s. But
yeah, or like aughts at this particular point. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
I was a big wrestling fan. Like massive, Attitude Era sort of person, and I loved the ECW, which was the competing, bit. And then Vince was like, I just bought the competition and all that other sort of silliness.
it's one company
He
again.
bought WCW, he bought ECW, he bought pretty much anyone who was prominent around that time. But this has prominent names, which is what we're gonna, at least spotlight here. And most notably, Roddy Piper. He is more or less the main character in this. If we're gonna give overall impressions,
for the most part, him and Shane the Franchise Douglas.
Yep, exactly.
like-
Another guy who was ECW and then went over to WCW. So we're getting geeked out as far as our wrestling stuff
So
goes,
real
yeah.
quick, do you want to do overall impressions? Just honestly,
I didn't like it overall. I mean, it was unfortunately the budget. I mean, there was some cool gore here and there, but
Yeah.
seeing Matt Hardy and seeing Shane and friggin'
Kurt Angle, Roddy.
Kurt Angle was the one who I was searching my brain for. Unfortunately, it was before I think he made the heel
was it
turn.
Duggan? Oh God, what was his name? I think
Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Dude.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, he's in this movie too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So having a large contingent of star power doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have a good movie. And regrettably, that's where.
Okay.
I mean, this is a guilty pleasure sort of situation. This is almost like the ICP of zombie movies, if I'm going to be fair about it. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll go there.
Okay.
I will go there because
Okay.
I like ICP, man.
I know. Okay.
know?
I will say I like the Great Malenko album.
No.
That is the only.
The one after is the one that I really like.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know that one.
Amazing Jekyll Brothers.
Oh,
I think
okay.
that's even better. That's the one
Okay.
with Snoop Dogg and various others. Yeah,
What?
it's
Snoop was on there?
Oh yeah, man.
No
it's good.
shit.
And here we're veering off the course.
Yeah.
guys,
Okay. Let's turn this train
pull
wreck
the
back onto
curtain
the
back.
onto
That's what's up.
the tracks. So.
This movie's derpy, dude.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
really dirty.
Yeah, so overall impressions, this movie was not a very good movie. And from the stuff that I read, I guess it wasn't. It was supposed to be more satirical.
Which
I
get.
I get
based
to
on the
I
wrestler-
get to a point, but at the same time, it almost seemed to they were trying to take themselves too seriously with what they were trying to present on the story, especially in how it was written and just. There were a lot of plot holes in this movie.
Yeah, a lot of people would actually argue.
They had 3-4 different stories they were trying to tell in one.
Yeah, and none of them were.
And all coming. Yeah, and also somehow it all surrounded the franchise. It all circled around him for some reason. And
Yeah, why Shane Douglas for they tried to make him a thing.
Well,
I mean, he was a thing in WCW.
He was and
you know,
everything.
and he was a thing in ECW. But as far as when all those federations partnered, he wasn't
as personally. I don't never consider him he was a large enough name, but not as big as Roddy and even the Hardy brothers, honestly.
True.
And I will honestly say I'm very glad I didn't see Jeff in this.
Yeah.
I like Jeff Hardy.
Yeah.
Out of the Hardy boys, I like Jeff Hardy the most, and I would have been really excited to see him in this movie.
Although Matt has made his own career separately,
Matt has.
with this weird manic personality.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I haven't watched any of it, but I'm aware of it.
Yeah, because he's got his own YouTube channel and everything like that. He does stuff, with the wife and kids and whatnot. because like they'll come back and they'll do the Hardy Brothers and whatnot, and then they'll split off and do their own separate stuff.
Although doesn't Matt have like a manic personality?
Oh,
it's like a stage personality.
Oh yeah, and most definitely you can definitely tell in this,
where he's like got the
and especially
smile
and especially in this movie, like some of them were playing heightened versions of themselves,
obviously,
and especially you could tell with like Matt Hardy,
which is where it was very surprising that Roddy felt subdued.
He definitely did, and from what I've actually read is he particularly didn't really like being on set. He didn't.
Well, he was paid. So
he was paid, but at the same time,
he
he didn't have fun doing the movie, and you can tell.
It's not a very fun movie.
No, like from his other movies, like Hell Comes to Frogtown and They Live.
Obviously, They Live.
Which is his most iconic one and everything. But you could tell they were having fun with that movie and everything.
Yeah.
But
chewing bubblegum, man.
Yeah, kicking ass and chewing bubblegum.
Yeah.
But let's steer back over here real quick.
We're like trying to maintain the format, but I'm veering this guy aside.
You're good.
It's all on my part.
No,
I am to blame.
You're totally fine. Overall thoughts. Not a very good movie at all. I can see it being a semi-cult guilty pleasure on like wrestling fans and everything. Don't get me wrong, I grew up as a wrestling fan.
Yeah, and that's where it geeks out for me is the fact that I'm just like, oh my god, that guy's in this movie, and that guy's in this movie.
No, it was definitely
that's the novelty aspect of it.
That was the most enjoyable part of this movie. I will definitely agree. Getting to see the old time wrestlers coming back and everything, and basically kind of just fighting zombies doing wrestling moves.
Yeah, but the zombie fighting
was bad. It was very badly choreographed.
They could have made this so much awesomer. I mean, granted, dude, let's like bring in George is the top, and he's not around anymore. But even bring in Zack Snyder, man, and you could have violent, awesome zombie interaction in that regard.
They couldn't afford Snyder on this.
I know this is one of the most low budget movies that I've seen recently on our patron sort of requests, and it shows in this.
I think
one
you guys are just screwing with us, but we say it out of love. We say it out of love, though.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
No. So just real quick, just cap on the story. It basically, a cultist hires a bookie to set up a private wrestling match at a penitentiary, and come to find out that he has motivations against Shane Douglas, things like that, some of the other wrestlers, and it basically turns into a survival against wrestlers and zombies.
I'm very glad you recalled that because I sure should.
That is literally all of the damn story.
Yeah.
And then it's just them trying to get out of the penitentiary. But okay, at a couple times they were already outside. They were already outside of the penitentiary. They could have left, but they still decided to go back in and try and fight their way back outside again.
Yeah, I mean they were being virtuous and they were trying to like help out the other people. I would imagine is at least the preeminence behind it. Maybe
at that point nobody's alive.
Yeah,
but no,
it's true.
Yeah, so that's really that. Cinematography was personally not that good. It was
it felt handheld.
It was 90s
dude.
handheld camera quality for 2014.
Yeah, it's one of those like, I hate to cast shade on the full moon, but man, they have so many movies very similar to this where it's like, okay, we're like expending the smallest amount of budget, and then let's just see if it turns a profit. And so
most of the budget, I guarantee, went to getting the wrestlers for this movie.
Exactly, because there is a myriad of really professional performers at this particular point in their careers, and they were like, I'll fucking kill the zombie, like whatever,
because like we mentioned earlier, we had Kurt Angle in here and everything like that, and like granted, he was only in actually for a short period of time, but he actually worked on the movie as the stunt coordinator.
No shit.
With Roddy. So that's why I'd imagine he didn't have as large of a role.
Yeah.
But
so they tried, but as far as goal and
it wasn't a very good looking movie.
And that's like being a little weird about it. But
makeup effects. Basically, it's
zombie stuff was okay.
It was mediocre.
Yeah, it wasn't as gore-tastic as with like pulling the curtain back.
Yeah, like there was one cool little scene I will say where someone gets pulled apart and everything. That was
which is a nod back to Day of the Dead, obviously.
Yeah, that was one of I think the coolest parts of this movie. that and this is an hour. Honestly, this movie probably could have capped out at a solid maybe 15 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, and that's
it
a
would
tough thing.
and it would have worked out a lot better overall.
Yeah, that's a tough thing because this film was like 90 minutes ish.
Yeah, it was about close to an hour and a half.
Yeah, so I mean,
because they did try to use a lot of filler stuff in there. Like I said earlier, there was a lot of subplots and plot holes within these subplots. It was a whole big mess of Swiss cheese.
Yeah, and I mean the biggest and most compelling thing is that there have been compelling stories in like professional wrestling. To be fair about it, I was one of those who was susceptible to that chisel, and Peacock is actually where you can watch all of the WWE stuff currently. So jump over there if you really want to relive 15, 25-year-old stuff as far as wrestling,
the golden
wrestling
days,
feuds, like
the golden days and everything. Yeah,
it's there. It's still chilling, So
because now, because even still, like back in the wrestling has always basically been a man's soap opera.
Well, a male soap opera is what my father described it as.
Like,
and he was just like, "What are you doing with your male opera?" And I was just like,
that's
chill out, leave me alone."
Yeah,
Dad."
that's literally what wrestling is. But at the same time, especially with the 80s and 90s, like they had that attitude and those unique characters that were coming out, like the feuds, like especially with Kane and Undertaker and things like that. Like
Kane, who did a few horror films.
Which was really good.
Yeah, solid.
Really good. And now he's the governor of was it not Arkansas.
Yeah, well, think of Jesse Ventura, man.
Jesse Ventura.
So yes, we're not like overtly left as far as that regard, and that's something that I say all the goddamn time, man. Is that perception and perseverance is something that parlays into the factor. So,
yep.
Yeah.
Basically, the effects were for what our budget was. It wasn't great.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It was super terrible. Like there were some nice little nods, but I don't know.
I feel like more so than anything,
the music probably shined the most out of this entire movie.
Yeah, well, the metal aspect of it for sure.
Yeah,
man. Yeah.
But I think it was like one or two bands that just did all the songs for this, and I was kind of excited too because when I watched the trailer for it, they had Accept, Fast as a Shark, for the video music. So I'm like, all right, cool. This is because it's cool music once we get in here.
But then they veer away past
they kind of veer away, like
rights.
exactly. And they had the money just enough for the trailer for that.
Which is typically
snippet.
how it goes, man. I mean, that's the unfortunateness of the manner.
But other than that, like
factor.
For where they shot, it was I would imagine they rented out like a section of like an old prison or something like that because it was shot somewhere on location to save for budget.
Yeah.
But
not green screen in that regard, which is cool to at least clarify. But just I mean, this could have been cheesy, cheeky, cool in my estimation.
It could have been a lot better than what we got.
Yeah.
Especially too, it's like it goes with like your script and your writing. And with that, it gives your actors for how much fun they're going to have on set, how much fun they're going to have with their characters. You could literally see with most of these guys, they didn't know where the hell they wanted to do with their characters.
Going through the
they
motions.
didn't like being there, especially Roddy in general. You could see in a couple scenes, especially, he just didn't give a shit.
And that was actually one of the things that made me dislike this movie as much. I mean, shit, I would give it like 2.5, if I'm going out of 5. But the fact that he seemed disengaged and he didn't
absolutely
care, man.
Absolutely, especially at the
fucking radiates amongst the other actors.
Especially at the ending sequence. You could definitely tell he's like, I just want to be done with this kind of thing, and not necessarily is like
pay me and leave me be.
Yeah, and who knows, like that could have like. The ending scenes aren't always the last thing to be shot on a set and everything like that.
No,
especially
like occasionally they film them like before all of the like nitty gritty sort of shit.
Exactly. For example, like from Dusk Till Dawn, their ending was shot first, and then they burnt down the set, and their shot is what we have in the movie. Yeah, and then the opening scene of From Dusk Till Dawn is actually the last scene that they ever shot.
Good call, my dude. Fuck yeah.
That's why too. Like even on they pointed out that Clooney was more ferocious and into his character in the opening than he was kind of towards the end, because you could see he was Seth
with the
Gecko.
fiery explosion, because I know that particular scene where they're walking away from, that's earlier in the film, but
and
blowing
that
up.
one shot scene that was great.
Yeah, and he reacts accordingly in that regard.
And that was like I said, one of the last things they shot. But so they were both already in character for the longest time.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as like in character, we tried to be appreciative, and they
were heightened versions of their actual selves.
Yeah, I know that there
you
was
can only take it with a grain of salt.
And I know there was a wrestling fan in Heather that was about this. Like, hey, as I've said, I have like been very about revisiting the Attitude Era, and I'm actually one of those people who, watched the insanity of the violent wrestling.
Like Mankind and everything back then.
Oh man, those Hell in a Cells were
those
legit,
were the best.
This movie was trying to capitalize on that contingent, and it did a very poor job in my estimation. So
but that's the thing. It's like,
what was I gonna say?
So it's like one good merit I will say is I definitely enjoyed having like the big, I would say, big name wrestlers and everything for what they got in this movie. It was fun. It was fun to see them because again, it was that childhood nostalgia thing. Growing up, watching, Duggan, and hell, even Jake the Snake and whatnot. Like, he was one of my favorites from
I
back
thought
in the
Jim
day.
Duggan was probably the most amusing of the entire
he was
of people.
He was
because
basically
he was
the
so
giant brute.
overt and over the top. And,
He was a giant brute in the movie with a 2x4.
Yeah,
and that's literally what he was.
Yeah,
and.
He actually felt like he made more sense as a zombie killer than
what's
he did
funny
as a professional wrestler.
I was literally kind of thinking about that same thing. I'm like, fuck, he actually probably did the best with his character. And you're just like, just do you, bro.
Yeah,
you're like,
exactly.
Do you? You're gonna kill
he
some
was
zombies
like,
and everything. You're like, go for it.
No, he fucking did it, man. And it was an entertaining film, but a good film.
Yeah, this is.
I'm sorry, Heather.
Yeah, like
it's
personally,
not
this
of
is
that contingent. So.
Yeah, this is a one and done film. It was nice just to kind of go through, watch it again. Like we were just saying, the nostalgia of seeing those old wrestlers and everything, fans of them and shit like that. But yeah, this wasn't the greatest movie, and believe me, I've seen worse.
Yeah.
I'm guaranteed.
And that's the biggest thing to contend. Is that we've seen
I have
worse,
seen way worse. So. Not to sound like a dick, but
chalk up in that regard.
we love all you guys. Believe us and everything.
Indeed.
We're assholes with love.
Yeah, massive respect, and yes, I mean Fuego here, and all social media sectors, whatever. But like, share, subscribe here on the Horror Show is a part of the process, and we greatly appreciate anybody who makes the effort. And yeah, man, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And let us know in the description box below, like what you guys liked about this movie, what you didn't like, and everything like that. And like what Fuego was saying, hit that notification bell.
Heather specifically, though.
Yeah, Heather, yes, please.
Tell us why you love this.
Yeah, Heather, I would actually like to talk to you about this. But what was your reasoning? Everything, was it just the nostalgia thing of it, or what? But yeah, so I look forward to that. But other than that, from here, the Horror Show, I've been Robert Duell.
And I've been Jaime and Fuego.
And remember, stay scared.